Hey friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
And we have a small problem. We'll tell you about it after we come back. If you've been watching us for a while, you know that we put up videos Monday through Friday at 3 o'clock in the morning Arizona time, which is 5 o'clock on the East Coast right now. And what time on the West Coast?
We're 1 hour off from California.
So, but we put it up at that time anyway, except we didn't get one put up for Friday. And that's a story in and of itself. So what happened, Irene?
Well, if you've been following the weather, there's been this really obnoxious series of storms that's been coming across the United States, and last week we got 2 rainstorms.
Nice rain. They were nice rainstorms.
Well, nice can be relative. To make a heck of our driveway's fine. It's the main road that's, a disaster area. Anyway, so, and we're not maintained by the county and all that kind of good stuff. Another thing to look at when you look at property. So, this week, we got hit by another 2 storms. First we thought it was about a half an inch of rain, but we realized in the long run it was about an inch of rain. And now that's an inch of rain is enough to turn our main road in and out of this subdivision into a giant pile of mud. And since it wasn't bone dry to start with, because it still hadn't evaporated completely from last week, we knew it was going to be really bad.
It'd be really soupy. Well, if you look at some of the videos we shot last year, when it was mud season, you know that road does get muddy.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we have some neighbors, they're new to us, they've only lived here for 5 years, Newcomers who decided that the way to drive in mud is to drive faster, and to spin your tires faster, and to dig the holes in the main road deeper.
Much deeper.
Oh.
So we ended up with 2 more storms that came in this week. One came in Wednesday night. So that's the night before Thanksgiving,
right,
which was fine. We didn't plan to go out. We had everything that we needed. We had all of the food. We had gas for the generator.
Yeah, we made sure we bought extra gas, because I looked at the storms and I'm like, okay, the second storm they're saying should actually produce snow. And at first they were talking, well, we might get a little snow. Well, then the temperature looks like it's going to drop like a rock. Well, when the temperature drops like a rock, your rain is no longer water, it becomes some sort of an ice form. So we knew that the second storm was going to definitely produce snow.
But we got surprised a little bit, because that first storm gave us a little surprise. We woke up Thursday morning to
snow. So what happened was the temperature dropped early enough that the end of the first storm produced snow.
So we had an inch of rain followed by 10 inches of snow.
Right, which was, I expected, 3 or 4. I did not expect 10. We never get snow that stays more than, an hour or 2 this early in the season. It just doesn't happen. But my theory, literally based on calendar observations, was somewhere between December 6th and the end of December, usually the 27th, we get a blizzard. But that blizzard may only be 8 inches. It's not usually more than that. And our first storm was 10. And then we knew there was another storm coming in.
And it was before the 6th of December.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so it's only by about 8 or 9 days, but it was still early.
It's still a bit of a shock, because the 6th is really early for us, and as I say, it doesn't usually stay more than a day or 2. We were considering going in to town yesterday, because we said, well, we'll go get some more fuel, and because, you don't know how bad the next storm's going to be, that sort of stuff. All the roads were closed.
When she says the roads were closed, 180 miles of I-40 between Highway 93 and all the way to Winslow were shut down. And oh, by the way, the main state highway that we have to go into town on was closed as well.
Right.
So we couldn't go into town. anyway.
Right. So we're like, okay, fine, whatever. It's not a big deal.
We'll do it tomorrow.
We'll
It's
do
not
it
a big
tomorrow.
deal.
So this morning we wake up to 10 inches of snow. Oh, by the way, that's another 10 inches of snow on top of the previous 10 inches of snow.
So now we have about 20 inches of snow on the ground, and
Right.
that's not a big deal. I checked the car this morning. We have a four-wheel drive vehicle that has air shocks on it that can bring the vehicle up off the ground,
Right.
so that it could more or less clear the snow.
Right.
So I could drive up and down the driveway just fine.
Right.
But
Well, he got the car all zoomed up and, lifted it and played around the driveway to make sure that we had enough traction, doing things like backing up a hill and stuff like that, because we have a decent hill in the driveway. And then he decided, for some reason,
well, it wasn't just some reason. I was sitting there thinking about, boy, with as much of northern Arizona that was closed for the roads yesterday, and we had a lot more snow again last night. We had more wind. I'm just going to go ahead and call into town, because I know the owners of the gas stations, so I figured, well, I'll go ahead and give a call into Brian's. He has 2 gas stations in town, and they're right across the street from each other, so I figured, well, I'll go ahead and give a call and make sure that people could get into work, and they had fuel in the fuel tanks, and they could pump.
well, Henry says to me, nobody in town is answering their phone.
Nobody.
Nobody. And I said, okay, our area of the world that's on grid is covered by APS, Arizona Power
Public Services.
rather. So I'm like, okay, let me check the APS blackout stuff, just on the odd chance that there's no power in town.
Now, we live off-grid. We make our own power. We never know whether or not anybody in town or someplace else
No.
is having their power go out. It's irrelevant to us because we don't have access to it anyway.
Right, and I had heard that there had been some power outages down in Phoenix. They had a tornado down in the Phoenix, Tucson area. There were warnings and watches and this and that and the other thing. I got my iPad and I charged it up and said, okay, APS, and there's a dot. And I'm looking at the dot and I'm thinking to myself, okay, that dot looks like, no, there's no power in town.
Well, not only is there no power in town, there's no power from a little west of us, all the way up to Williams, which is about 18 or 19 miles.
Right.
But a very important thing, there is a cell tower on the top of Bill Williams Mountain. When Irene called APS or checked APS to find out what was going on, they said, oh, we're not sure where the problem is.
But it's a major transmission line, and there are some major transmission lines up near I-40. And we anticipate it'll be fixed by 11 o'clock tonight.
Maybe.
Maybe. And
We're
we
not,
went, oh.
we're not so sure that it's going to happen before that or after it or at 11 o'clock, but it doesn't matter. Now, the interesting problem for us was that yesterday, the satellite dish, which we normally use to upload our YouTube videos, was covered with snow and ice. It finally cleared off, but by then it was too late to really start the uploading process. It was going
Well,
to be
and we
really,
had such
really
heavy cloud
slow.
cover that the satellite was like slower than growth.
Yeah, so I decided, well, I'll get up in the morning and I'll go ahead and just upload because there won't be a lot of people up early. They won't be using the satellite. I'll have a little more bandwidth. It should upload a lot faster. It won't be on time, but I should be able to upload. Well, then I woke up to more snow. And then I woke up to no electricity. And then I woke up to no gas. The joys of living off-grid in rural America. The bottom line of all of this is that no matter how much you're prepared, no matter how much you anticipate, no matter what you do, when you live in rural America, things are going to happen. When you live off-grid in rural America, it happens in a different way.
So, we're fine. We have our house is a passive solar house. So
We're warm.
We're warm. We have pellets for the pellet stove. We've got electricity. If we run out of electricity later today, no biggie.
We'll just go to bed,
Yeah, really.
which I like.
we have iPads and stuff that we can sit there and fiddle around. As long as the cell towers are not completely down, we can use Verizon to watch YouTube or something like that. But it's like, okay,
we just continue in normal life. It's, apart from the fact there's a little bit of a nuisance that town doesn't have power, so I can't go get a couple of cans of gas just in case, because we're looking at 2 more storms coming in.
Yeah.
We're looking at, they think it's going to be rain. I don't know.
it looks like we're going to get hit with a storm every 7 to 10 days for the foreseeable future. I don't know how many. I know at least 2 are coming in, spaced out about that far. So we're going to have to make sure we have a stockpile of fuel in case either we can't get into town or we don't want to have to get into town. And this is busy season for me. This is Christmas season. So I send poor Henry to town just about every day to mail packages that are going out to people who've ordered things. And it's like...
Except on Saturday, there's no mail service.
Yeah, there's no mail service
on Saturday.
So he gets 2 days off a week. But but other than that, it's like, okay.
I work for a slave driver.
Oh, totally.
A lot of people don't watch the weather, but you know what? Because we live off-grid where we do, we really pay attention. And the fact of the matter is, Irene's always paid attention to the weather because we've always had a garden, no matter how small or big it might be. We've always had a garden, and we've always been having to take kids to skating rinks and go here for business, go there for a meeting. We've always been trying to keep track of what's going on weather-wise.
Right, and we have family and friends all over the United States.
So kind of the synopsis of why you didn't see a video yesterday and you may not see one today, today's Saturday, is because we had 2 snowstorms of 10 inches accumulation each, back to back.
Right.
One on the night of Thanksgiving and then Thanksgiving night. Then we had major roads being closed. Really, I-40 has been closed now better part of 48 hours. It was open for a short while.
Everything said, don't travel in northern Arizona if you don't have to.
So at the end of it all, you didn't see a video yesterday because power, snow, power again. There just wasn't the facility to upload anything. There may not be a facility good enough today, but we're going to give it a shot.
By the way, the greenhouse is still alive. There's damage in there, but we're still getting tons of lettuce and stuff.
And it was 17 degrees this morning.
Oh gosh, yes. Well, it was 15 by the time it was done this morning.
So we're doing pretty well with the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if we'll be able to keep it up, but we're going to try. Thanks very much for watching. We hope that this was at least a little bit of a giggle for you, because we're here. I'm here, fat, dumb, and happy, not knowing that there was no power in town, not knowing that the highways were closed. I was all ready to go on and slog through the snow to get into town. And
that was really annoying if we had spent, 45 minutes getting to town and there's no power.
At the end of it all, we're safe, we're fine, we have warmth, we have lights, we
still have more turkey than God, yeah.
We have plenty of food. The only thing we don't have is any place that we could drive to get anything, because I-40's closed. I'm pretty sure that 89 is going to get closed again here somewhere pretty quick, because when the sun goes down and it starts freezing, it's going to be ice, and they're just not going to want us to drive on it.
Right.
And the problem is for northern Arizona is there's not a whole lot of snow plows and sand trucks out here. That means that our place on the priority list is pretty low.
Right.
So, in any case, we hope you had a great Thanksgiving, that you're having a fabulous weekend, and stay tuned and see what happens next week. It's going to be different.
I've gotten some great snow footage in the last 24 hours. Actually, the last 48 hours, but yeah.
Thanks for watching. We hope you like what we did here. Please like and subscribe if you like what we did. And don't forget to hit the bell for notifications.
Bye.
See you later.